Greetings. We're about to embark on a series called The Opening of the Book of the Seven Seals. Now, of course, it's going to be a very arduous mission, meaning that it's going to take a lot of persistence in revealing the things that have been implanted into what we would consider to be the scriptures. So many would ask, Dawit, are you condemning the Bible? Are you condemning Christianity? Are you condemning the tribe of Israel and saying that they didn't exist? King David? What are you exactly going to be saying during this series? I want it to be clear and direct that even if we did have many scriptures that were written by us, whether we said we were Hebrews, said we were Israelites, said we were Ethiopians, Nubians, whatever, Commission, it doesn't matter what we said we were when we wrote those things. We know that invaders have been amongst us and have taken our literature and have done to it as they pleased and then returned it to us in a way that it would continue to strengthen their control over us as a people. And so when I come forward, I am coming forward to clear up any misinformation. I've already stated that there are divine truths in all scriptures, are holy books, yet they were all written by men. And so when we say divine inspiration, we're talking about ones who are in a steady communication and meditation with the Almighty. And that is when we could say, okay, well, a scripture was written in the purity of its sense for the spiritual upliftment and edifying of the reader. But when we read most scriptures, mostly in the Bible, it's not really about a spiritual edification in that sense. You have politics, you have, a lot of vices, you have all of the older heirs to the throne or to the blessing being usurped by the younger, showing inequality and injustice. There's a lot of things that are in there that if taken literally without the clarification or the erasing, cleaning up of that stuff that has been implanted amongst the universal truth. And so that is what the opening of the book of the seven seals is about. It's about looking critically at what was given to us in the Bible. What does the Bible actually say? Looking in the Bible, not looking at what it says, but looking into what it says and what it's truly saying, and being brave and bold enough to face the truth. And so we give thanks to the Almighty that is in our time and our era manifested in a higher form of mind, spirit, and body through our King of Kings, Garmawe Kedamawe Haile Selassie. Yes, our majesty is majesty, right? No imperial don't need to be in there. And so we know that when we go and touch on these subjects, it's going to be painful for many to see the light and the revelations that we're going to bring forward. But we want you to realize that the book that you have considered to be infallible and without any flaws is not so. And we're not speaking about the words of the Almighty. We're speaking about the transliteration and the ones that made a decision to translate the Bible in their way. And so we thank the Almighty Source again for giving us the opportunity to come forward and reveal to ones the knowledge, the reality of what we have in what we would call in Amharic the Metz Afkadus. And so, no, there is no condemnation for reading the Bible, because when you read the Bible, you get some history, and maybe some of it is not even, true history, but you learn something about some places, some names of some places, and stuff like that. What we would consider to be the proving of if these people lived in those places is, an historical journey. And so what we're doing now is just dealing with the Bible, looking in it at what was being said, and seeing why it was written the way it was written, and why it was translated from whatever language it was translated from originally, and why in English there's so much discrepancies and contradictions. And so once you get rid of the contradictions, we still have the universal truth that's present in all what we would call scriptural writings across the globe. There's that love your neighbor, don't steal, don't murder. That's universal truth, And so all of that is what we want to look into in this series. Now, the Bible by itself might be one of the most influential books upon the minds of the people across the globe. And so when we touch on the subjects of the Bible being a copy, a plagiarization, a duplication and replication of books from Africa, ancient writings, we want ones to really, do their own research into that. We speak of the whole 9 gods that are mentioned in the Per Emaru, and how the same deities or principles are changed but placed in the Bible in the way they choose to place it in the Bible. From Seth, Cain and Abel, that's Osiris and Seth. Shu is Joshua and Yahshua. By studying what each of the deities or each of the principles of, or the elements were, what their characteristics were, you will see those same characteristics attached to the beings that are mentioned in the Bible. So we want to be clear that if we as Africans can look at our history and find the same story thousands of years before the Greeks, Romans, and invaders came upon us, then we don't need to any longer look through the lenses of those invaders. And that's why His Majesty said Africa is in the state that it's in, because we're looking at religion through the lens of invaders and foreigners. And so His Majesty also said that we should not get religion and spirituality confused. And so there's a lot of religious teachers. We use the Bible and we use those books, and it's the religious part, the rituals and so forth that, well, we wouldn't even say the rituals, because they're not even doing rituals anymore, beside those that have been implemented by European standards. And so what I'm saying is that, it's just time. It's just time for us to, be truthful. His Majesty says that spirituality is a connection, is a network connecting us to each other in the Most High. That's what we have to live by, proving if the Torah or the Hebrew or the Amharic is the best way of translating the scriptures, or that's the original language, or those things are going to be so petty. They're going to cause us, I'm communicating with you and you're understanding what I'm saying to you. That is what counts. Right? That is what counts. Now, I'm not going to say that there is not more purity in the original of every tongue and every language. But when it comes down to it, we're speaking this language of communication. So if we're not able to break the book open with this, then we're not really going to be able to explain or reveal to the people who speak English. And so that's the level, that's the stance that I take as Ras Dawit, that we must come to our people in a manner that they can understand the communication that's being brought. Not always out there in the mystery, mysterious, mystical, mysticism. Okay? We need to stay on point. We need to be able to explain why Shu is Yahshua, because he's the divider of the two waters. And that's what was said about Shu when we wrote of him in the Per Emaru, or in the ancient Egyptian scriptures. Shu, the god of air, was the god that was between the waters of earth and the waters in heaven. You go to Genesis, you find out that God said he placed a firmament between the waters under the earth and the waters up in the sky above. So we want to look at all of these things when we're looking at this 3-part, maybe 4-part series of opening of the 7 seals, or opening of the book of the 7 seals, and looking into the Bible, not just at the Bible. Okay? So thank you for tuning in. Hopefully we could get through this smoothly without any interruptions, right? Because we know that the studio ones tend to pop in regularly. So Direct Truth TV, or Direct Truth TEL Vision, the opening of the book of the 7 seals, the Metzaf Kadus, or the Bible, and what was really being said in there. And let's decipher some of the information. Jah, Yah, Ayah, Rastafari. Garmawe, Kadamawe, Haile Selassie, Exabia, Yemiskin. Yeah, this is a wonderful Mezmor by Idrin from Ethiopia named Teddy Afro, you know? Yeah.
Dawit